We lost Tom.
Everybody got the recorder up here? Okay. Coach, go ahead with the bonus.
All right. First, I want to thank our fans, and I was really upset last game, more because like our fans did such a great job, and I felt as a coach like I didn't have my team ready, and so today to see our guys put that kind of effort out for 40 minutes, it showed how much they really appreciated our fans and what they bring to the table for us. And because this doesn't happen everywhere, right? Like, we can't take this thing for granted. And so, secondly, I say this all the time, wins and losses, but I really, really mean I'm so blessed by God to be the head coach here at Kansas State. And I don't take it lightly. And to be able to work with these young men every day in this great environment with such wonderful people, I'm extremely blessed. Very, very thankful to Coach to Gene Taylor and President Linton for giving me this opportunity.
Your players mentioned a lot of circle the wagon rebound drill the past few days. To kind of having that instant rebounding success tonight, how exciting is that?
Well, I'm really glad that they got the point, right? Like, I am probably by nature a jackal, right? Like, I don't mind being like the bad guy, and I could do it every single day, and it wouldn't bother me at one bit, right? But it wouldn't be very fun for them, and my staff wouldn't like me very much. Right, so you hope that you have older guys and guys who understand the importance of, like that drive comes from within the locker room rather than from the coaching staff. But I just really felt like they needed that from me, and so everybody up and down the hallway in the offices and in the locker room and in the gym and in the film room, everybody was on eggshells these last few days on purpose, because there needed to be a heightened sense of urgency. And so, yes, we did circle the wagon rebounding. We did a lot of things that maybe you might not do on a quick turnaround and stuff, but the message had to be sent, and the guys received it. And now the hope is that on Thursday when we come back, that I'm not the one that has to drive it. Like, the players are the ones that drive it.
Marquise set this single-season assist record. What about what he's done this season in that aspect of his game has been so special?
Well, man, anytime you do an all-time record, like, the most in the history, that's a really big deal. And Steve Henson is a really big deal around here. And the guys that Steve Henson played with were really good players, right? And so it says two things. First of all, Keith was blessed with vision, and he has a willingness to pass the ball. And secondly, he has some really good players around him too, because they're putting it in the hole. So it says a lot about him and a lot about our team. And so it's a great honor, man. I'm proud of the kid, and that young fella. He took the last loss really hard, and I was proud of how he responded today.
And then Takey had a great game. Seemed like a kind of a long time coming for him to kind of come out and play.
We tell everybody that at some point in time during the season, everybody on the team is going to have an opportunity to help us win a game. And Takey came to my office and he said, "Coach, man, is there anything that I could do to help?" He said, "Coach, whether you want me to play defense on the other team's best player or not let him touch the ball, whatever it is, I just want to be able to help contribute to our team winning," right? And I told him, I said, we was trying to figure it out. Like, we're working through some things. It's not something you're not doing. It's just, we're just trying to figure out how to, like, get the most out of each guy. And all I asked him, I said, just stay ready for me. Just stay ready, and if you stay ready, your opportunity's going to come. And tonight his opportunity came, and he was ready.
Coach, between Desi and Takey, how important can that bench production be moving forward, and how do you find that on a consistent basis?
Yeah, that's the key, right? Like, every coach, like, what coaches want? is consistency. Like, you don't want 25 points one night and 2 the next. You just want to know what you're going to get. And so, but I'm sure players want to know they're going to play a certain amount of minutes every night also. And so we have to find that balance. But if we can get the production from Desi and Tyke off the bench like that, it makes us a much better team and harder to guard. And so we're going to keep trying to figure this thing out.
Keontae ends up with 14 points. If I recall correctly, his 3 fouls were all going to the hoop, charges, and he had 6 turnovers. Is he kind of over-penetrating, trying to force it a little bit at times?
I don't know if it's that he's trying to force. I think teams are loading up on him, just like what they're doing with Keith on the ball screen. Everybody's like presenting something different, and so what we have to do as a staff is figure out a way to get him isolated, so where the help is not there. And the second thing is to show him on film. Like there was a couple times he could have stopped a little early and delivered a pass to someone else who was open, and so we have to show him on film because he's a willing passer, and show him how he can then be a facilitator, and we can eliminate some of those turnovers.
How much was your run keyed by the defense? I think you got 4 straight stops and 5 out of 6 during one stretch.
Yeah, no, it was all defense, right? You have when you early leads. I always say early leads mean nothing unless you defend and rebound. And I thought in the second half, other than that, to start the second half when they went on that little spurt, I thought our goal was to win every media. I thought we did, except for one. I think we tied. And so, but it was just about, it's 0-0, and we got to defend and we got to rebound. And because, last game, remember they had 54 points in the paint and 36 fast break points and 26 points off our turnovers, and they just killed us on the glass. And so, those were just, it was an emphasis for us, and our guys really bought into it.
And they made a similar run to what Texas did in the second half.
Yeah.
Kind of at the same point. Was this the kind of response that you've been looking for?
Yeah, well, I think I did a better job and called a timeout this time, and so the staff, we figured that part out, and then the guys, yeah, they did respond to it better.
Coach, last time you guys played TCU, Eddie Lampkin, I think, went for 17 and 6. I know he's a little hobbled by injuries now, but he gets 1 rebound with no points. Just what you guys do differently?
No, this is not the same TCU team that we played at their place, right? Eddie's hurt and Mike didn't play. Okay, I told him that because I've known Mike since he was maybe 5th grade, and Eddie for a really long time, 8th grader, and so it's. I think when they're all healthy, they may be the best team in the league, and they have all the pieces that they could win 6 games in the tournament, right? And so this was not the same team. They're still really good without those guys, and I'm not taking away anything from what we did tonight, but it's just not the same team right now.
And then I want to ask you about Desi. He had 24 points against Kansas the first time you guys played, and then I think he didn't score for a game or 2. Now he's finally started to pick up the production points-wise. Just how much does he change the offense when he is able to score?
Well, when he's playing downhill and he's being aggressive, he really helps us. And once again, I think we were trying to figure out some consistency here. And that's where, it's tough when you get 24 one game and you get 0 the next, right? As a coach, you're like, man, which Desi am I getting tonight? And I'd rather take the 14, and I think 6 rebounds maybe that he had. I'd take that Desi every night rather than the 24 and then the 0.
Coach, when you've got the production that Tyke provides, what does he have to do to do that consistently, and how does that continue?
Well, I think one of the things is what role will you be happy with, right? And the fact that he came in my office and said, Coach, I just want to help, then now you're not worried about, well, do I need, because he was a guard at Stony Brook last year, right? But for us today, he was playing the 4 and he was in the dunker spot, and he does that pretty well, by the way. So it's just about buying into your role, and if you do that, then you add value, right?
Coach, Bebe takes 2 charges in the first half. I know he doesn't always have the biggest impact scoring-wise, but energy-wise, he seemed to be impactful tonight. Can you describe what you saw from him?
I saw him fight in the post, not give up post touches because he was fronting, and then box out. And that's what we needed, because at their place, they just owned the paint. And I was very impressed with Bebe's energy. And other than the one time we were in the press and he came running up and gave up the dunk at the rim, I thought he was pretty locked in.
What do you think kind of led to him making those kind of strides and making that kind of impact tonight?
Well, at TCU, I thought Eddie got in his head. And, I mean, he was just like, Eddie has that ability, right, to score and then tell you about it. And, he got the crowd going. And I thought Eddie got in his head. And so I thought today he was more focused on what he needed to do.
As a role man, what does David do so well, and how can what makes him so effective as a cutter in that role as well?
Because he's quick, right? So he can get in and out of the screens quick, and that helps him. And then he can catch the ball and finish. And so we just got to get him to continue to set screens and not slip out of them.
I think the game down there, you guys had 14 turnovers in the first half, and this time you forced 13, I think, in the first half, and I think they only had 10 the whole game down there. What was the difference defensively, do you think?
I don't know if it was as much defensively as Mike Miles is not out there. You're not going to be able to pressure Mike as high up the floor as we were able to do the other guards. Because he can just go by you and make plays. And so I think it was more about what they were lacking than maybe something we were doing.
But also the fact that you guys did turn it over as much, especially early when.
Well, yeah, if we don't turn the ball over, we got a chance. Because we're pretty good offensively, but when we turn the ball over and they're out in transition, there's no defense for that.
You've talked about Taj and what he does in practice before, but Ty Key brought him up without even being asked about him as a guy in practice. It's really helped even Ty Key get better. What do you think he's going to bring to K-State for the future?
I think at some point in time, Taj Manning's going to be an all-conference player, and he's going to help us win a ton of basketball games. And every year, he's just going to continue to get better and better. And one day, y'all will be sitting here writing stories about, maybe the all-time winningest player in K-State history, because he does all the little things and big things that help you win basketball games. And nobody likes to see him at practice. Okay, and nobody likes to nobody wants him guarding him. And every day at practice, he says, Keontae Johnson, I'm going to guard you. And it doesn't matter how ticked off Keontae is about how physical he is with himself, he does it every single time. And he just figures out, and every time he goes to the glass. Our scout team is really good. Is really good. And they really help us prepare. And I leave practice a lot of times thinking, boy, we're going to be pretty good next year.
Coach, there can be 1,000 different thoughts running through your head after a game. You go up with the pep band after the game. Take me back to that moment. What's running through your head at that moment?
Well, the last time I got to go up, I picked a different section, but our band, you ever been out to watch their practice? They get after it, right? It is, they work. Right, and they bring the energy, and I didn't even know they did all the stuff with the horns and stuff when they were doing the Wabash. They go different directions and up and down, and it's like choreographed, like special. And so I got to see that, but I really just appreciate our band being at the game. I appreciate the way they embraced us when we went out to see them, and I would like every group to know how much I appreciate what they bring to the table and how much they help make this environment which it'll be the best in college basketball.
So if the team saw angry Jerome Tang this weekend at practice, I'm just wondering how many times have you had to break that version of yourself out this season?
Well, it's during Shark Week. They saw like a different me, but that was the conditioning week, and it was like, hey, this is business. I think in this day and age with the young people the way they are, like you can't do this. Like kids want consistency, right? They want to know to come in, they're going to get the same thing every day. When you come in and one day you're happy and one day you're and stuff like that, it screws with them, right? So I could probably do this about 3 times a year for this group. And because if you do it too much, you lose them. They stop listening to you, right? And so, I hope I don't have to, but if I have to do it 2 more times, that's probably about till they'll like start tuning me out.
But that was number 1 this week.
Yeah, Shark Week was just what it needed to be. This was the first time all year long.
Coach, during another Big 12 televised game, there was an announcer said something like, every night in the Big 12, there's a desperate team. There's a team that's trying to avoid a losing streak, team that's trying to protect home court, team that's trying to maintain status in the standings. Every night there's a desperate team in the league. How do you maintain the edge? Because there may have been some desperation tonight. You didn't want to lose 3 in a row, lose 4 in a row in the conference. How do you maintain that edge here down the stretch and be, if not desperate, then be that team that has that competitive edge on a night in, night out basis?
Man, if I had the answer to that, I would be a multimillionaire right now. Like that's the thing. Like success has a way of making people relax, and it takes away a little bit of your edge. It's just human nature, right? And so to fight human nature, that's our job as coaches, to try and figure this out. And what I'm hoping is that our guys, our older guys, come back and don't allow it. Like, don't make me have to be, because I don't mind, like I said, but they be the ones that hold each other accountable to compete at a certain level and have an edge. Because really, we were picked to finish last in the league, okay? We could still finish last in the league, right? So we haven't accomplished anything, right? I mean, I'm a first-year head coach. People like looked at my staff and said, we can't coach, right? And so, I mean, nothing's changed, right? And the reason why we're successful early is because we played with love and joy and with a chip on our shoulder. And so nothing should change. And so my job is to make sure that nothing changes, and I'm hoping that it can come from inside the locker room rather than from outside the locker room. But if I had the answer to that, like I said, I'd be doing something different.
So speaking of Shark Week, you guys had the word grit, which meant greatness really is tough.
It is.
Is the last couple weeks what you've been talking about? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, like this, it's probably been coming, and you try to figure out how to. Yeah, it's tough, man. And you look around the league, and it's tough. Teams win a couple games, and people think they're on a roll, and then all of a sudden, like the dudes we play against, the teams we play against are really, really good, right? And then you go into their environment to play, or they're coming to ours, and yeah, it's tough. It is really tough, and so, we just gotta, like I said, you hope that your upperclassmen can really help you in those areas.
Anything else for Coach? Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thank you guys. Go Cats.